We're back with our politics lead, Vice President J.D. Vance, deflecting any blame for the fallout around the Epstein files today.
Donald J. Trump is asking his Department of Justice to show full transparency, and somehow that's a criticism of Donald J. Trump and not Barack Obama and George W. Bush. If you want to criticize the people who aren't showing full transparency, you ought to go after the administrations that went easy on Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, my panel's here, former Trump White House Communications Director Mike Dubke, and for the first time we're joined by Democratic congressional candidate Kat Abughazaleh. She's 26, running for Congress in the Democratic Party in Illinois' 9th congressional district. Thanks so much for joining us. So, a lot to talk about today. Politico today details how behind the scenes Vance has tried to take on the peacemaker role between MAGA and the White House. Let me read from this article. Quote, he has won over high-level MAGA influencers, is on a text chain with Charlie Kirk, and has maintained close ties to Tucker Carlson, according to two people familiar with the relationship. JD is doing a masterful job of having the president's back and explaining that to the base, Kirk told Playbook, yet he has tried to stay out of the Epstein mess until this point. What do you think of the vice president spending so much time courting these MAGA influencers?
It feels a lot like he's kind of over-explaining here a bit. There's a really easy way to solve this, and that's by being transparent about the world's most famous pedophile and sex trafficker. I was just endorsed by Ro Khanna today, who has been effectively targeting Republicans on this. Like, they have options here. They could be transparent about these files, which their base wants to see, which pretty much every American wants to see, but they would rather shut down Congress instead. And it's kind of weird.
What do you mean shut down Congress? Oh, because they adjourned.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Like, they don't want to vote on whether to release these files or not. And it's like, why? What is there to hide?
It's not a bad question. We should know that that's actually not unlike what J.D. Vance used to sound like on this. In 2021, this was his position on Jeffrey Epstein, writing on Twitter. Quote, if you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, I resemble that remark. I agree. Yep. So why the change?
Well, I don't know that there's a change in the administration's posture over the last 3 weeks. I've been asking the same thing. I mean, unfortunately, I think this is one of the areas where we've had this administration not be able to clearly articulate a position that they took during the campaign and prior to it. And I'm just surprised by that as we get to here. But JD's comment, the vice president's comment at an event on the One Big Beautiful Bill today, he was asked the question by an AP reporter, and he's doing what a vice president does. He toes the line of the administration, and I think that's fair. I was going to say, back to your original question, I mean, this is the position for him if he wants to run in 2028. This is what he needs to do.
But he's saying Donald J. Trump is asking the Department of Justice to show full transparency. But that's not true. They're not. They asked for grand jury transcripts to be released.
They did.
And the judge said no, which was expected. But there's thousands of pages of documents.
Exactly.
They don't have to ask anybody's permission to release.
Well, they need to be careful with what they release.
Sure, they should
from
redact
all of the
the names of the
legal
victims.
position,
yeah.
and also the protection of the victims and all of that.
But you don't. He hasn't asked for.
Look, you can ask me this question over and over and over again, and I don't know the answer to it because I think no, it's not. It's not a simple answer of just release it all. It is I don't know what I was saying is, I don't know the reason why this administration that has so effectively communicated in the first 6 months of its administration, why this one's tripping them up. That's the question.
What do you think is the reason, Kat?
I can guess, and I think it's because there are names in there that this administration doesn't want people to see.
Yeah.
I mean, the President of the United States, there was a letter that he is suing the Wall Street Journal over of the president's signature as pubic hair on a poem about ageless enigmas. Like, this isn't rocket science here.
Well, he's
That's
denying,
a detail about that picture I didn't know.
Well, he's denying that it is his drawing and it's his letter, and he's also, from the start of this, if there was that information in there, I firmly believe the Biden administration, Merrick Garland, some of this would have leaked out at this point. This is what really puzzles me. I don't really know what's not in there or is in there. And this seems to be a misstep that repeats itself over and over again. And we're on what, week 3, 4?
Something like that. So let me change the topic. Something everybody wants to know about Vance in 2028 is he going to be the nominee or is he going to run? Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, had a pretty quick answer when interviewed, quote unquote, by the president's daughter-in-law.
You are talked about quite frequently as a possible contender in 2028. Do you have your sights set outside of the State Department?
Well, I think J.D. Vance would be a great nominee.
It's a pretty good political answer, but what do you think?
Whether Marco Rubio will run or
Yeah.
J.D. Vance will run, I think they should focus more on helping this country right now as people are struggling instead of focusing on their own political ambitions. I mean, I thought Trump was supposed to run for a third term according to these guys, so it's kind of interesting to see how weirdly
I think that
focused
was
they are on this.
trolling. What did you think of
A
it?
little bit of tongue-in-cheek on that.
Yeah. In New York City, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is continuing his mayoral campaign as an independent. He sat down with CNN's Gloria Pesmino to discuss young voters' excitement for the Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani. Take a listen.
People get turned off because somebody runs for office and says, you know, I have a magic wand, I'm going to make everything more affordable, I'm going to make buses run fast, I'm going to wave a wand, and all of that is going to happen. And then nothing happens.
You, like Mamdani, are a young progressive candidate taking on the establishment. Do you think that Governor Cuomo has the diagnosis right about that's why people get turned off, because somebody runs for office and makes a lot of promises?
I think the fact that they make a lot of promises is something that turns people off, but the fact of the matter is that Zohran Mamdani, in his election, he's providing solutions. He had a bus program that's helping provide free fares across the city. A lot of progressive candidates, and what I frankly think are common sense candidates, have solutions that other politicians just don't want to implement because they don't want to upset donors or upset corporations or upset people with a lot of power. And for instance, you can check out my comprehensive platform at catforillinois.com. These are things that we know what solves homelessness. It's building more housing. We know what solves medical debt. It's universal health care. It's not complicated, and it's not waving a magic wand either. It takes work. Building things is hard, but it's much better than letting people suffer.
Mike, what were you doing at 26?
Oh, 26. I was here in Washington, D.C., toiling away, but not in a congressional office. I will have you know.
Not running for Congress?
No, not at all.
All right, Mike Dubke, Kat Abughazaleh. Sorry. Damn it. I
He nailed it like 20 times backstage.
It's
I promise
Kat for
everyone.
Illinois. It's Kat for Illinois?
Catforillinois.com, cat with a K.